Hi there, everybody. This is David, and hope that everybody out there had a very Merry Christmas and got everything that you wanted. And it looks like Square Enix might be giving us an early Christmas gift too, because they've come out with some quotes about what they're going to be doing in 2026, and they're very, very exciting. And take all of this with a grain of salt. None of this is official. We just kind of have some quotes here. We have some rumors swirling around and some puzzle pieces that are kind of adding up to maybe another entry in Final Fantasy Tactics, or maybe even a Vagrant Story remake. And I definitely do want to tell you all about that today, and I do think that's worth the sub as you come and join a party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your hype. It helps me out a ton. So, what am I talking about? Okay, so here we go. This comes straight from the creator of Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy XII, Final Fantasy Tactics, The Evilise Chronicles. So yeah, straight from him, and I'm going to butcher his name, I'm very sorry. It's Kazutoyo Mihiro. He says his ambitions for 2026, he goes, in 2025, re-released Final Fantasy Tactics, The Evilise Chronicles on September the 30th, and Logos, The World of Final Fantasy 16 on December the 16th. Well, the game and the book took different approaches. We put our all into both so that anyone who picks them up might feel even just a little, hey, games are fun, huh? The next something that we're preparing will also be content with a different approach. We're working hard to bring you new gaming experiences, so please wait a little bit longer until we can debut it. So something with a different approach. We know that remasters and remakes are big business, but he's not saying that. He's saying a different approach. And if there's anything that's different, it would be a sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics, something that's different that we haven't seen before, not Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. And also, another game that's very different is Vagrant Story. But why am I bringing up Vagrant Story? Well, there's some puzzle pieces that we'll get to. And that comes in this tweet right here. So this comes from Low Expectations. Yeah, I know, but I have high expectations for this tweet. Okay, so it says that Kazutoyo Mihiro, that's the guy who I just quoted, he was the planner and director of Vagrant Story. And back in November of 2024, Yoshi P told 4Gamer that he wants Matsuno games on modern hardware. What are Matsuno games? Well, I'll tell you, they're pretty much the Evilise games. Final Fantasy Tactics is a Matsuno game. Tactics Ogre is a Matsuno game. Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy XII are Matsuno games. Yoshi P, the director of 14 and 16, said, hey, I want these Matsuno games on modern hardware. So, it says that this exact same month that Yoshi P said this, Matsuno himself mentioned that he was working on 2 games. 2 games. Well, but that was back in 2024, so one of those games was obviously the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. So there's a second game floating on out there, and again, the guy that we just quoted was the planner and director of Vagrant Story. And then Yasuhiro Matsuno Games, the Evilise games, said in a tweet, he says, don't tell me about it, please be patient, and please wait even more patient. So yeah, he's saying, we have something going on here. I can't say what it is though. Then, as far as a Final Fantasy Tactics sequel is concerned, we know that that Square Enix has come out and said that a sequel could materialize if the remaster sells very well. And this again comes straight from the director, Mihiro, who's the guy who I just quoted. He says that it can open the door to a new Final Fantasy Tactics game depending on the sales. Kazutoyo Mihiro, who directed the remaster, has hinted that if the game is a commercial success, it could open the door to more games in the series. If the Evilise Chronicles can do well, that's good for the fans. They can enjoy it. But at the same time, it shows the business viability of the strategy RPG genre. So that could potentially open the door for something with Final Fantasy Tactics Advance or Advance 2, or maybe even sequels and new titles as well. I think that I speak for everyone who's worked in the original Final Fantasy Tactics and is working on the Evilise Chronicles as well, that we would all really like to see that happen. Yeah, so again, we know that he's working on 2 games, or he was at the time. One was Tactics, the other one is still a mystery, it's up in the air. So now we have to say, well, how much has Final Fantasy Tactics sold? They have not released any sort of sales, but they also didn't say that the sales, didn't meet expectations, because as we all know, Square Enix's famous, they are infamous for every single game that they ever release not meeting sales expectations. They didn't say that for Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles. They didn't say that it didn't meet sales expectations. In fact, what we do know is that since it released on Steam, we know how much it sold there on that one particular platform, that one particular digital. It sold 153,000 units. Yeah. So it did sell pretty well over on Steam, and that's not including anything on the PlayStation or the Switch or anything else. So it is selling well. So this is very, very, very good news. But I've got to say, Tactics got a remaster. Do you think that, Vagrant Story needs a remaster? I don't. I think this thing needs a full-on remake, because holy crap, like, even back in the day, whenever I first played this, I think it was in high school. It was either in high school or college. It was like right on the cusp of me going into college, whenever it came out, and boy, oh boy, this thing was clunky even back then. So to play it 25 years later and still have that clunkiness, that would be a thing. I do remember being very excited about it though, because it got a 40 out of 40 on Famitsu magazine, which is the Japanese, gaming magazine and everything. And they were like, oh, this is like the best game ever. It's the first game that got like a 40 out of 40. This is like so cool. And then I played it. I'm like, how did this thing get a 40 out of 40? Like every single battle was like, do you want to target the arms or the head or the legs or the torso or whatever? And it was like, oh my God, I just want to kill the stupid bat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully it is a Vagrant Story remake. That would be nice. Or it is a Final Fantasy Tactics sequel. I'm not so hot on thinking about getting Advance or Advance 2 because like the ports after the ports after the ports after the ports is a lot. I would like to see something new. I would like to see something new in Ivalice. I think that Vagrant Story does deserve a remaster, but as we're going to go into Tactics, I think that what we need there is definitely a brand new tactical entry, not just ports of Advance or Advance 2. But now I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this news? What do you think that mystery game is that we know about here? Because there's a lot of things that are kind of adding up, and it's really interesting to think about. Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.